Shanti, 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 peace, peace, peace. Namaste, Om Namah Shivaya, Maggie, 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 Natalia, Natalia, Familia, Familia, Amor, Amor. That's the way to start. I come to you with radical honesty and acceptance of all life forms and life choices and experiences, and I hope that you can keep that mentality for me as I share the ramblings in my mind, which we're always going through at all times, gaining data and experiences from interacting with people, doing things, feeling certain ways, thinking certain things, and then trying to make sense of our place in the world and existence and humanity in the earth. It's kind of what we're always doing. We're just taking in data, making choices, and judging, for better or for worse, and interpreting the next step in our life, always trying to get towards something. But what I ask you is, what is that thing that you're always moving towards? We're always progressing through life. If you're watching this, you've been alive your whole life moving towards something. Now, those projects might shift. When you were a kid, it started as getting good grades. Then you found hobbies and you pursued that. Maybe you got into relationships and you started to focus on that. But what I ask of you today, and something I've been thinking about the last day or two, is what is the main focus of what you are living for, what you are here for? Now, let me throw out some options. You could be living for yourself. In fact, I'd say most of us a lot of the time are, and that's not bad. That makes total sense. We signed no contract coming into this world we signed no contract at all. It wasn't our choice. We were birthed into this world and now we're here. And most people want to feel good, so they pursue actions for their self-fulfillment. That's not a bad thing. That makes total sense. But I think a lot of times people can get lost in what they are living for and what they're working towards, what they're making decisions for. Are you living for yourself? Are you living for your loved one? Are you living for fame and approval from others, strangers you don't even know? Are you living for your family? Are you living for your career? Maybe you care more about the knowledge and wisdom or tools or skills, services you bring into the world than even yourself and your body and spirit or whatever you believe you are. Are you living to blend in? Are you living to reduce conflict and stress in your life? There's many options of what you're living for each day, and let's even break. And the point of this video and this conversation is for you to connect with yourself today. Usually it helps with a deep breath, just to sit and say, today I'm going to be making a series of decisions: what you're going to eat, drink, how much rest you're going to get, exercise, how much play time versus work time versus decisions all day. What are each one of those decisions for? If you're going to put the effort to do something, you should know who you're doing it for before you do it. And the reason that I'm inspired to speak about this is a conversation I had recently with a loved one, actually. Someone I love very much, family member. And I love them and appreciate them in so many ways. But in the conversation, we were talking about, should people who eat animal products, who eat animals, meat, fish, cheese, chicken, whatever. You can even say this for vegetables and plant-based foods actually as well. Is it the responsibility of each person to know where their food comes from? Or is it okay to live, I would say, with your head under the sand of what it takes to get certain things to you to survive? So my argument, of course, I am a radical ecologist, science-based environmental person. I want to know exactly what it takes for everything to get into my life. What did it take for this shirt to get here? Was it made with organic cotton or synthetic, which involved chemicals which polluted the ecosystem? Was it fair trade and made by someone who is paid a sufficient living wage or not? Now, I don't know the answer to that to every single product that I interact with and own, but I'm on the process of doing that, and I always do my best before I bring something new into my life to say, wait, how did this get here? Does it fit in with my life philosophy, style, and my goals in life? Which brings back to, what are you living for? So in the conversation I had with this person, of course, I was making the argument, yes, like if you eat meat, for instance, you should have many experiences of killing animals yourself in order for you to know, do I want to eat the animals on my plate, which someone had to kill in order for me to get it? And now this person said, no, we shouldn't have to know that because it makes me sad. And most of society, and she said this word, society, lives their life without knowing exactly how every food item got to their plate. So in order to keep society calm and functioning, this person said they shouldn't have to kill animals in order to eat meat. Now you could argue that in that situation, that person was living for societal norms. And society, as in modern society, what humans have been doing for just our lifetimes, the last couple decades, 3 decades. Unfortunately, I have to say, my friends, even though we're all friends and family and I love life and we're all one, we're a very parasitic species to this planet. We're extremely selfish, and we are so species focused that we have disregarded and neglected essentially everything. We've neglected our waterways, our bugs, our mammals and invertebrates. You know, in the last, I believe, since the Industrial Revolution, 150 years, we have lost about 70% of the vertebrate species on our planet. We're in a mass extinction, similar to when a comet hit the Earth, I think millions of years ago, and took away the dinosaurs. And we're doing that mass level of extinction, not from a single impact, a comet, which you could say is natural. Well, humans are natural too, so that brings a whole philosophical thing. What's natural? Everything's technically natural. We're just animals on this planet, taking resources from the planet with our minds and making things. But we know those actions have consequences. There's certain things that humans can do to disrupt the cycle of the earth, like take fossil fuels, which are naturally occurring under the earth, and bring them up burn them for our energy. Cars, transportation, machinery, puts it into the atmosphere, that traps in the heat, boom, global warming, sea levels rise, and our cities, like Miami and many coastal cities all over the world, are going to be flooded because of our human actions. You could say it's natural, but there's extreme consequences and people are going to suffer. Animals already have been. As I said, 70% of this percent of the species that existed in the last couple hundred years, we have killed and made extinct from human actions. So, society and what we've been doing is deeply flawed if you want to keep calm, comfortable, if you want to keep society calm and comfortable. Climate change is going to disrupt human and the world's society and function in such a massive way. Again, through global warming, shifting our agricultural practices to sea level rise, which is going to disrupt communities and city infrastructure, to wildfires, to so many impacts of climate change, just to breathing, to cancer. So I never want to base the way I live or my actions in order to just make society, mainstream society, comfortable. That doesn't interest me at all. I want to know the facts, the scientific, hard, black and white evidence of what is going to bring more sustainability and harmony in the natural cycle of Earth. What can I do to contribute towards moving towards that kind of lifestyle versus certain actions I could selfishly take in my life, but that will feed the machine of destruction, of death, of pollution, of the climate crisis we're in. But you could argue that my choice to live based on science and Mother Earth, and by the way, I'm a massive hypocrite. All I'm saying is I'm always trying to do better. I'm not good. I don't claim that I'm good for the planet. I don't think anyone watching this is. It's kind of impossible. We're in Tijuana, Mexico right now, so people drive around the neighborhood selling things out of their cars, and that's probably what you hear right now. But hopefully it's not too loud. There are consequences, though, even with the way that I'm trying to live, which is I honor myself as a parasite. I drive cars, I burn fossil fuels sometimes. I'm in the process of growing 100% of my own food, but I make the excuse for events like this to travel to another country on a plane and use cars because I have a wedding of a friend to go to, and that's beautiful. But there are human impacts and world impacts to that decision. And instead of, some people would say, oh, you can't live that way. Then life would be so sad. You're realizing you're screwing up all the time for society and the planet. It doesn't make me sad to acknowledge all the crappy things I'm doing for the earth and selfish consequences. It actually brings me more happiness and pleasure to be aware and not ignorant of my impact on the planet. Brings me, even when I'm making a decision that isn't for the earth, for the betterment of the planet, I still like to think about it and know the consequence I'm having, because that will inspire me to make the best choice in the future. So you need to ask yourself, what are you living for? What are all the decisions you make in life for? Is it for the planet and for sustainability? Maybe that's your passion. And so even if you have to make some sacrifices, like you drive less, you have less of a diverse diet because you only eat what's locally in season, that will bring you pleasure and meaning and happiness because you've tuned in to what you want to live for, maybe the environment, and those consequences or sacrifices you make will be worth it because they're on behalf of something that you believe in. Maybe you don't care as much about the environment and you want to live for making the people around you more comfortable. You can make those decisions. I've noticed coming from Costa Rica in my little town, I have a degree in environmental science. I've connected with nature and sustainability my whole life. And coming here to Los Angeles and seeing my family and Natalia's family and interacting with people who live in cities in the very Western privileged world, I've noticed some of my philosophies of life, always connecting to nature, being honest, trying to be aware of our consequences, pushing buttons, not to annoy people, but just to try to lift the veil of the blanket that society has put over us, where we feel comfortable making choices with our life just because it's what we grew up being told. This is how you progress in life, versus is this actually in alignment with the world you want to create? A lot of my family, they live based on traditional ways. What makes them comfortable based on how they were raised. And what I'm saying is modern human species, we're all beautiful, we're all family. I love humans and all beings. But as I said, we're in a mass extinction. We've created climate change with what we know for the first time in human history. Maybe this happened 100,000 years ago and we just don't have records, but I'm pretty sure what we're doing now is unprecedented because we have bigger brains. We created technology without knowing the consequences. We continued that ball rolling, building up our safe, comfortable lives with houses and technology, etc. And now we're in a crisis where trying to bring us safety has brought us the largest existential, dangerous crisis of humanity, which is climate change for our future generations. And for us, if we're living today, we're already feeling the impacts of climate change. So, I like to live a radical, honest life, sharing with how I feel with other people, even if it makes those other people uncomfortable or even ashamed of their practices. I'm ashamed of my practices, of just being a human. and using fossil fuels, and not basing 100% of my time and focus and energy on trying to lower my impact on the planet. I think that's a valiant way to live, and if we live any other way, there's some selfish aspect to that, and it's also okay because it's the world we were brought into. But I hope and I strive, and it helps me to make these videos and hopefully just to inspire you guys to today, every hour, set a timer on your phone, ask yourself, what am I doing right now? And who am I doing it for? Am I living right now for my partner, for me, for the planet, for money, for my job? What are you doing anything for? And then after you do that for a couple days, you might notice, you might start engaging in activities throughout your day where you're doing things in order to for someone or something that you don't even want to be working for. So that's why it's important to also take a deep breath, and before you start doing actions and going through your day and filling up your schedule, say, who am I working for today? Who am I putting effort out for today? If you want to put effort out for the planet, go pick up trash for 3 straight hours in your community, and then go buy a local fruit, and then go plant all the seeds from the fruit that you ate, and you're gonna feel so meaningful. You're gonna go to bed saying, yes, I was intentional about who I wanted to work for today, and mood follows action. That's one of my favorite quotes that Rich Roll always says on his podcast. Your mood is determined on your actions every single second of your day. So it's so easy to get your day hijacked and you do things for other people or things that you don't even believe in. So today I am doing things that are kind of out of my normal flow. Usually I'm in Costa Rica on my farm because I've lived the first 20-something years of my life in a Los Angeles lifestyle and mindset, and I studied so hard in school, and I traveled with my family all over the world, and I didn't know where my food came from, and I lived for myself and society for so many years because that's what I was raised to. They told me that was the good thing to work towards. And then as I got older, I realized what brings me more meaning is to work for Pachamama, for Mother Earth, and to try to lower my impact on the planet while also enjoying my life. I am selfish too, that's natural. We're our own beings, so we're gonna wanna do things that make us feel good. That's okay too, but it's a balance of trying to find, I think, for me, what is good for the environment and what is good for me, and bring those two things together. If I only thought about me, I'd go live some baller lifestyle and it'd be crappy for the environment, and I would find some pain in me day to day because I know I wouldn't be fully living the life that brings me meaning. It brings me so much meaning now to plant seeds and to take walks instead of drive, and just to know I'm reducing my carbon footprint just a bit on the planet brings me meaning. But again, I said I'm here for the wedding, so now today's about socializing. I'm gonna be driving. I'm probably gonna be eating foods that I wouldn't normally eat, that is not fully in alignment with eating the healthiest foods, because today is also about being social. But it's important, even in days like this, to tune in even more, maybe every 10 minutes, and say, all right, a decision is about to be presented to me. There's someone walking around with a plate of vegan hors d'oeuvres. Is it in alignment for me to take that right now and eat it, or will I be doing that just to please somebody else? And is today for pleasing somebody else, which can feel good, or is today about being in alignment with myself and doing things that I know make me feel better, even if it makes some other people uncomfortable? Now, these are a lot of micro decisions we're making all day, so it can be overwhelming. That's why we have pranayama and breath. The more you can breathe and realize that life is just a game, and it's about this balance of working towards something you believe in while also feeling good for yourself and finding that beautiful match in between so everyone is happy. This has felt good to share these philosophies I've been thinking about. I hope you enjoyed too. I hope this brings you some meaning today. I hope it brings you some focus to figure out what are you living and working towards today. What are things that you want to find out about your lifestyle that you've just been moving through without even thinking about. And it can be a painful experience because you can find out that some things you do in your life aren't in alignment with what you really believe in, and then you have to shift, and addictive behavior comes into that, and withdrawal comes into that. But what I can tell you is living a life in alignment with your values will feel better every single day than feeding your addictions or traditions of whatever you were raised to feel comfortable with or what you're supposed to do. Life to me is about unlearning everything, resetting yourself as a wild animal or a baby or whatever, using your wisdom and life experience in order to figure out what you are here for, what brings you meaning and happiness, and then to make decisions all day, every day in alignment with that. Because when you start living and making decisions for other people or things that you haven't thought through that you want to work for them, then you fall into a trap of getting used to habits and lifestyle practices that aren't even in alignment with what you like. And then you're just living and putting so much effort for something that doesn't even bring you value. And that's ridiculous. So find out what brings you value and meaning and work towards that every single decision and step you make in life. And this game of life will be a lot more fun and enjoyable. Many more of these types of videos are going to be posted here on my YouTube channel, but also on my Patreon. And in these wild times, of course, all the support helps. All we're doing, Natalia and I, are planting trees on our land to build the most amazing vegan permaculture yoga retreat center ever, so that you guys can come and hopefully once a year, maybe more, whatever, come and rent out a cabin on our land or come to a festival or retreat so that you can eat the most amazing organic local foods, fruits and veggies, drink our spring water from our land, dance and sing together, interact with plant medicines, and just open our minds and consciousness towards love. That is what we are doing in Costa Rica, and it's going to be a couple years of building that infrastructure. But we have many months in, and it's going so well, and you can follow my story and my YouTube videos to see the progress we're making. And I'll be posting a lot more of these videos on my Patreon, so it'll be exclusive to my Patreon. There's a few tiers. There's $1 a month, $2, $5, and you get access to all the videos I post on there no matter what you contribute. So anything and everything helps. Thank you. Pura vida. Namaste. Follow along the journey. Peace.